Let's make a video about the history of Fiji. Fiji is an archipelago in Melanesia, a region in the southwest Pacific Ocean that consists of hundreds of islands spread over 18 degrees of latitude and 27 degrees of longitude. It is one of the first places on Earth to see the sunrise and one of the last to feel the sunset. The exact origin of the name Fiji is uncertain, but it is believed to derive from the name Viti, meaning 8, referring to the 8 different islands that were initially inhabited by the Fijians. Archaeological evidence suggests that people settled in Fiji around 3,500 years ago. The first inhabitants were the Lapita people who came from what is today Papua New Guinea and some. They brought with them pottery, a sophisticated social structure, and new food crops such as bananas, yams, and citrus fruits. From the 13th century onwards, the region was known as a fierce warrior society with many small kingdoms and tribal groups scattered across the islands. Warfare between these groups was common and raids for slaves and resources were frequent. To defend themselves, the warriors built large villages surrounded by high walls and moats. Some of the villages could house up to several thousand people. In times of war, they would retreat into these fortified settlements, bringing their women, children, and livestock with them. In the 17th and 18th centuries, contact with the outside world increased due to the introduction of new trade routes and European exploration. The first European to make a Fijian to English dictionary. Missionary societies from Britain and America arrived in the islands with the goal of converting the indigenous people to Christianity and ending their warrior ways. However, the Fijians resisted these attempts and continued to live according to their own customs and beliefs. In 1804, the British explorer William Bligh landed in Fiji and established friendly relations with the local chiefs. This marked the beginning of a long association between the two countries. During the 19th century, Fiji became a popular destination for European settlers and traders. The British began to show more interest in the islands, and in 1874, they formally annexed Fiji as a colony. This was mainly done to prevent other European powers from taking control of the islands and to protect the valuable timber resources. The colonial period saw many changes in Fiji. The British introduced new crops such as sugar and cotton and encouraged the growth of a plantation economy. They also built infrastructure such as roads, railways, and schools. However, the system of forced labor they established led to discontent among the indigenous population. In 1970, Fiji gained independence from Britain and became a member of the Commonwealth. The first prime minister was a member of the Fijian political party, which represented the interests of the indigenous population. However, the country soon descended into instability and coups. In 1987, a military coup led by Sitiveni Rabuka overthrew the government and suspended the constitution. This was followed by another coup in 2000, which led to further instability and economic decline. These coups were largely the result of ethnic tensions between the indigenous Fijians and the Indo-Fijians, descendants of Indian immigrants who had come to work on the sugar plantations. In 2006, Frank Bainimarama, a military officer, led a third coup and became the de facto leader of the country. He promised to restore democracy and hold elections, but these promises were not fulfilled. Instead, he remained in power and amended the constitution to give himself more powers. In 2014, Fiji held its first election since 2006, and Frank Bainimarama's party won a majority of the seats. This was seen as a step towards democracy and stability after years of coups and dictatorship. However, there are still concerns about human rights abuses and the concentration of power in the hands of the executive branch. Today, Fiji is a parliamentary democracy with a president as the head of state and a prime minister as the head of government. The country faces many challenges, including poverty, inequality, and climate change. However, it is also home to a rich culture and a beautiful natural environment that attracts tourists from all over the world. The future of Fiji will depend on its ability to address these challenges and build a more sustainable and equitable society for all of its citizens. That's the end of part 1. If you want to watch part 2, click here. See you next time.